This is our C90R multi-purpose rack unit, and it's a lightweight unit, 800 grams only, not very deep, so it will fit into any rack or flyaway kit, and you can also have it powered with Ethernet switches. So PoE on the Ethernet cable, or in this case we use a DC power cord if that's more convenient to you. So the multi-purpose aspect of it is really linked to the use of nice crisp OLED displays associated with these 10 buttons and these two encoders over here. And then we have a block of multi-purpose or utility buttons you can, as any of these components, route to do whatever function you want. So let's look at how this configuration is done, because we have set it up in a traditional way to communicate with our ATEM switcher in the rack over here. In the current mode, these buttons are set up to route sources to preview. When I press them, you also see which sources on program. The program preview mode is designed so if you hold a button, it will actually bring the source on program. And on the block of utility buttons over here, we have also dedicated this button to be a dissolve button, the auto function of the ATEM switcher, and this one is a regular cut button. So these 4 buttons has been assigned to different states. The state we're in right now is regular bus switching. If I change to this state, we'll see that all the labels are changing to AUX1. So now we can simply route inputs on the ATEM switcher to auxiliary 1. If I go to the next state, it's the media player selection. So now I'm selecting lower thirds in the media player, and then finally macro execution. One nice thing is that although we have set up for 10 macros, we only see light in the buttons for the first 4 because we have no more than 4 macros defined. Finally, we have these 4 buttons down here, and this one is a shift key. The shift function needs to be relevant in the context. So if we go back to the bus switching here, the way it has been set up is that the shift key would give us access to sources beyond 10. So if we had a 2ME switcher with up to 20 inputs, then this would give us access to inputs 11 through 20. And then the last buttons here would be enabling downstream keys, picture-in-picture functions, and so forth. Finally, the encoders on the far right have been configured to adjust the length of transition. So here we see the ME1 mix effect length. It's set to 25 frames. But with the encoder, I can change the length of the transition. And this button has been configured to choose the transition type. So I can go from wipe to dip to mix if I want. So during the commercial break, guys, we managed to update this controller with a different firmware. It's really easy. Plug in the USB cable to your laptop, press the check for updates button. But before that, we went to the online repo and chose a different configuration. So now it connects to an ATEM switcher, HyperDeck, video hub, and the SmartScope over here. Let's take a look at that. The C90R currently talks to an ATEM switcher, HyperDeck, SmartScope, and video hub. And we decided to group the functionality into different states on the controller. So when I'm in the ATEM state, I experience ATEM switching here, having a cut button, a auto button, and in this case a shift button. And the shift button has been set up to give me access to sources 11 through 20 in case I had a 2ME switcher connected. Then we thought it was great to change state to HyperDeck if we want to access functions of the HyperDeck. Such functions could be start recording, stop recording again, slot selection, setting a fast forward and fast rewind speed, and so forth. These functions are all documented in the displays. If I continue to the next state called Video Hub, I'm now routing sources to output number 1. So you see, as I push these buttons, you may see over in the rack on the input side of the Smart Video Hub, I am changing the route to output number 1. And the shift key on the C90R can be used to access sources beyond 10. So I have only 10 buttons right now, but when I press this one, I could access source 16. And the really cool thing about the displays is that you will see the source labels pulled out of the video hub. So whatever name you gave the sources, the inputs and outputs in the video hub will be reflected on the displays. And the final thing we integrated here is SmartScope control. So with these knobs, and again documented by this place, you can change whatever scopes you see on the SmartScope over on the left. Again, picture, then we have waveform, vector scope, RGB parade, and so forth. And of course, we also managed to switch between two modes, so we can access scope B on the right instead. We currently see the ATEM switcher output, the multi-viewer, but I could select also waveform and the other scopes, which, well, doesn't make too much sense for a multi-view source, but nevertheless you get the point. The last configuration we'll take a look at is how the C90R rack unit can control vMix. And that really underlines how flexible this unit is. It's a matter of a few minutes and you have a new configuration on the unit. No need to change caps, label caps on the buttons and so forth. It's all done by the OLED displays on the unit. So vMix is a software switcher, and you see the interface on the screen behind me, and now we'll look at the functions assigned to the buttons on the controller. It's a fairly simple setup we have with vMix here. We have only 5 sources. That's far below what people normally have, but they are broken out on these buttons. So as I push the buttons, you see how I change the preview source, and it's really snappy, which is a nice feature of the way we integrate with vMix. Further, we have over here, we have a transition button. We also have a regular cut button. And an important thing is how the names of the sources are brought out to the displays on the front. It means if you change the name in vMix instantly, you'll see the names update on the displays as well. And now vMix users, they have a tendency of rearranging sources as they like, and that will also be reflected on the front. So you'll see if I take, let's say, this replay source and drag to the first position over here, notice how the buttons on the panel and all the labels are now changing the order, so they always perfectly reflect the order you see in vMix itself.